Hey everybody, I'm Christopher Green and you're tuning into AMTV. Alternative Media Television is Monday, May 16, 2016. A shout out to my brother. Happy birthday. I love you. You scared us last week with your appendicitis, man, so I'm glad you're recovering. You're getting well. I love you very much. In today's video, I want to talk about the coming debt collapse and how we're affected during an event like that. I spoke about last week the US dollar collapse 2016, a video that I put out in partnership with Swiss America, providing real actionable strategies on how to protect yourself. You can download the free report, my free report on negative interest rates, what to do in this particular environment, how to allocate just a portion of your assets into physical gold. For that, click the link below. Again, it's free. You can register for free anywhere around the world. But it gave me some perspective this weekend because I got out of the city. And anytime you get out of the city and you see the stars and you're sitting on acres of land, it just goes to show you how indoctrinated we are into this debt-based credit illusion that makes up our modern society, courtesy of the Federal Reserve, printing fiat currency out of thin air and then just constantly selling us bullshit we don't need. You know, most of this comes through the mainstream media boob tube, which I refuse to watch anymore. I'll watch for research purposes. Sometimes I'll tune into a particular show, you know, things that I'm doing here for the media that I do here on camera on a regular basis. But honest to God, if you watch TV, you're just being sold a lie continuously. Buy this, buy that, you're not good enough, you need this. Everything from entertainment to the clothes that you wear to the cars that you buy to the homes that you finance. And it's all backed and based by this fiat bullshit paper currency that's literally worth nothing. And again, what happens to you during a debt collapse? What is real wealth? That's the real question here. What is real wealth during a debt collapse? We saw this in the 1930s with people literally committing suicide post the 1929 stock market crash because they lost everything. They were on the wrong side of the trade. We saw this in 2008 and 2009 with mass foreclosures and short sales. You see, credit only works for you in a continuous growth pattern. That is, if that business cycle or growth cycle lasts infinitely. But we know that can't happen. It doesn't happen. It's a fact that if we go back on a long-term trajectory, the average business cycle lasts anywhere from 5 to 8 years. 5 to 8 years. And guess what year we are today in this bullshit artificial recovery that's made of quantitative easing and Operation Twist, all these funny money policies, 0% interest rates, and soon to be NERP, negative interest rates like what we're seeing across the pond in Europe. We're in year freaking 7. 7! So of course I don't have a crystal ball. I can't predict the exact timing of the debt collapse, but I do know it's coming. I do know math that there's going to be a reversion to the mean. So where do you sit when that, and how are you affected when that reversion to the mean occurs? I mean, we look at Venezuela right now with absolute tyranny, riots, and police in the street. People can't get food. They're literally killing each other in the streets. I won't show some of the graphic footage because YouTube won't allow me to. But I mean, it's graphic. People are murdering each other in the streets over food right now. So what happens in the United States of America when I believe in the not too distant future, the once considered, perceived, and that's important, perception is reality, but it doesn't necessarily make it real. The risk-free asset that makes up the US dollar is no longer risk-free. And there's some kind of sovereign debt default like what we've seen with the PIGS nations, for example, in Europe. Portugal, Italy, Ireland, Greece, Spain, etc. What happens then? Because I legitimately think that that is coming. And if you own all of your, quote, artificial wealth in credit-based assets, whether or not that's debt mortgages or debt car loans or debt credit cards, all of this debt, and again, my brain's firing right now, my synapses are firing because everything in our society is freaking debt. There's no real wealth in America. It's absolutely bullshit. It's the total funny money illusion. And again, getting out of the city this weekend and seeing the stars and sitting on acres of land And just realizing how indoctrinated we are in this whole system, not that I don't know that, but it gives you perspective. How we're just constantly being marketed to all this bullshit. How people in our society will literally measure their net worth as basically how big their dick is. And not their net worth, but basically the debt assets that they possess. The debt car loan, or the debt mortgage, or the debt this, or the debt that. You know, most of your friends and family are just in debt. They don't own anything. So any guy or gal that measures their dick by the size of what they own, ask them what their net worth is. And spell it out for them on a piece of paper. Assets minus liabilities equals net worth. Most of them have a negative net worth. And, you know, that's what I'm trying to emphasize here, and it's why I really preach asset allocation. It's why I'm putting out these free reports. Again, no obligation, that you can download from Swiss America, our partner here in the Valley of the Sun, by clicking the link below, because I want to educate you guys. You know, you can just live a life of fear with your head in the sand, like an ostrich, or you can actually take preparation, which meets, in my humble opinion, opportunity. You know, at some point when this hits, when there's a reversion to the mean, like what we saw in the 1930s or 2008, 2009, you'll see a lot of people flee from the cities out into the country, where I saw those stars this weekend, where I was sitting on acres of property. That's real. That's tangible. No debt. You know, something that you can really toil with your brawn and your sweat. You know, I think that it's important, and you don't have to be extreme in any one area, but I really do believe in asset allocation, and I believe in diversification. You shouldn't have any of your eggs in one basket. Whether or not that's your skill set, that's your business, that's the relationships you invest in, your friends, your family. Again, all of these things are skills and assets, whether or not it's gold or guns or ammo or food storage, preparation, water filtration. All these things and systems are great things to have in place. It doesn't mean you have to be extreme on any one side of the coin, but take preparation and do it now. Again, ask yourself that question again and think about in relation to your own life. What is real wealth during a debt collapse? Is it going to be your mortgage where you owe, let's say, $300,000 in debt? Is it going to be your car loans where you owe $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 or more in debt? Is it going to be your student loans when you owe, you know, some kids owe $100,000 plus in debt? Is that going to be real wealth in a debt collapse? No. Because what we're experiencing right now is a deleveraging cycle. And they've been trying to mitigate it with these funny money policies, 0% interest rates, so that they can have a quote-unquote soft landing. But during a deleveraging cycle, the pain is in debt. Again, there's a reason home prices tripled and then collapsed in half in certain places like Phoenix, Arizona, for example, or Las Vegas or California, post the bubble popping. It's important that we have perspective. Also, our society is changing so much now with, for example, a statistic I read recently that about 30% of the entire labor force is actually an independent contractor now, is a consultant. And by 2018, over half, over 50% of the workforce will be in a consultant role. It's changing the dynamic of the quote-unquote 9-to-5 job, where we had the rise of the corporations in the 1950s, where you had a pension and all this stuff. None of that stuff exists anymore. It's really independent freelancing. And not only that, we're fighting a technological, and there's a lot of benefit here as well, but we're moving from an industrialized age to a technological age. This tech revolution, where people will tell you flat out to your face, even nonchalantly, people like Ray Dalio. I watched an interview last week. He says that we just don't need the same amount of people anymore.
The President talks a lot about income inequality. What's your take on income inequality?
I think it's mostly a function of technology in a global workplace. In other words, technology is having an effect on that productivity means that you don't need people the same way that you did before. And it'll be a big issue. It'll be a much bigger issue going forward.
We don't need a lot of people on this planet to get things done with robots and algorithms and all of these replacements. Just look at the service industries, for example, being decimated. Not only do you get paid minimum wage, but the job pool is being decimated by robots, technology, algorithms, etc. So it's changing the entire playing field as to how the average American or person on the globe fits into a working society. I mean, ask yourself the question, what are they going to do? What are the elites going to do with all these people that they don't need? You shouldn't have to think too hard about it or too long. They're just going to get rid of you. They're probably going to socialize society, which is what they're doing now, especially here in America, and we see in Europe, where they're just going to give you free shit because there's such a wealth disparity. It's one of the reasons there was an engineered wealth transfer in 2008, 2009. They were funneling all this money to the top 0.001% before this hit. You see how all of this works? So they're going to socialize society. They're going to give you free shit. Try to keep your standard of living at a reasonable level so that you don't revolt like what we're seeing in Venezuela until there's an inevitable shock and or collapse. We see that happening now. And then they're just going to get rid of you. Okay, it could be your refusal to merge with machines in the not too distant future. Notice how most of us feel lost without our cell phones now, because it's a hub of information. People search everything, their contacts, their friends, all kinds of information on the internet, answers questions, also an entertainment device. People feel lost without it. Now, it's not integrated into our biology yet. And again, I'm not a proponent of this, but it's what's happening. They're just going to integrate the technology with your biology, where it's no longer going to be an external device. And I actually don't think, I was talking with some close family members this weekend, I don't think it's going to be like a decision where they're like, hey, do you want to take the chip? You want the chip installed? You want to take the mark of the beast? I don't think they ask you that. I think it's just this gradual but quite dramatic shift where you're just going to merge with the machines to create your own living hell. That these transhumanists are pushing, whether or not it's Ray Kurzweil of Google or others. I watched an interesting report from Aubrey de Grey. In fact, I'm going to grab his book. I want to read it about how they're trying to eliminate the aging process and all kinds of things. I read this weekend that they're actually creating for the first time in history a synthetic genome. That means a human being, I don't know how you call a human, that has no parents. They could create superhumans. They could create humans built for war. They could create humans built for all kinds of things, or just get rid of humans completely. Move to that robotic, algorithmic society that we already have. Isn't that what America and our economy is? There's only like 5 tech companies that dominate the world right now. I was even reading that Amazon is getting into private labeling in their business of delivery. They're just taking over the world. Again, this digital ghetto that makes up this tech la-la land of censorship, courtesy of people like Mark Zuckerberg, who has been accused in recent days of censoring conservative and libertarian viewpoints. The good thing is, though, Glenn Beck is going to the meeting today, I read, or this week. He'll be looking Zuckerberg right in the eye. All these anti-Trumpers. Isn't it interesting they don't have Matt Drudge there? They don't have me there. They don't have Alex Jones there. But they got Glenn Beck there, the anti-Trumper. Yeah, he's the conservative that's going to be looking Mark Zuckerberg in the eye. And again, Facebook's a private company. They don't have to abide by any of these, freedom of speech policies or anything. They can do whatever they want. They're a giant friggin' monopoly. That's the truth. And we all give these entities our information for free. I always think it's funny if people complain like, how dare you make a recommendation, Christopher? Yet you'll give shit away for free to these tech behemoths every single day of your life. You'll sign these long, terms of service, privacy agreements that nobody ever reads. It basically just gives away your, firstborn children. You'll give away all of your personal information, upload your photos to Facebook so that they can use it, tap into it, and then make billions and billions of dollars. I'm not saying it's right, but it's amazing people's concept of reality is so warped. They don't really understand the world around them. They don't have that perspective, that view of the stars sitting on acres of land away from the city. They don't understand their own indoctrination. I'm not saying that you don't. I'm preaching to the choir here within our community, but the great masses, the great people of the world, are they truly awake? Do they understand their chains, their slavery? Do they understand that if they just open their eyes, they could awaken and they could be free? That we could change everything, that we could have real wealth, that during the next debt collapse, you don't have to panic. You don't have to jump out a window, and anyone that did it, you're an idiot. If you measure your self-worth by your net worth, you're a freaking fool. That's just the truth. But you don't have to be in a panic mode when that happens again, when there's a reversion to the mean. You can take preparation today that just puts you in a position where you can meet opportunities and grow and have growth in business and your personal life and your family and love. Real wealth is in your friends, your family, your relationships, your business, your skill set, the things that drive you, that spark a flame inside your belly. That's what's real wealth. I'd like to hear your comment question in the box below. Again, what's real wealth during a debt collapse? What side of that equation will you be on when we have that reversion to the mean. And again, download our free report, the free report that I put out just a few days ago. Click the link below. You can get it anywhere around the globe, around the world, for free. I'm Christopher Green. You're watching AMTV, Alternative Media Television, hard hitting it in your face. And click the link below to download and register.